Hello everyone, this is the solution video to quiz 1. The task was to code a function called day2str, which takes in the day, the month, the year as integers and then convert that into a string, and then of course return the date in a string format. And a string format is given here where we separate the days, month with points. So here actually, yeah. So, and of course, no built-in functions, no printf, sprintf whatsoever is needed. The only function that we can use and call is the malloc, because we need to allocate some memory, because we're returning a string and we're building the string inside the function. Now, the student.c file, which is given in this PDF, looks like this. Before we run this, we need a certain main function here. So let's include stdio and int main, return 0, and we're good to go. Now, once we've done that, what we need to do actually is to copy the definition or the prototype of our function, because we're assuming that we have a function and that function doesn't exist in this main.c file. When the C compiler tries to compile it, at the compilation part, it needs to know that if I'm going to call something down here, it should exist and how it is going to interact with it. So basically, we are going to have a, let's say, day. Let's define them actually. Let's say we are going to have the month. Let's have 11. And the year. Let's have 2022. So these are the arguments that we are going to pass. Once we've done that, we will have the date, and we will call it date2str. You can see that my code editor helps me out in writing my code, where it suggests that if I'm interested in it, there's something called day2str, which is based on the prototype given in line 3 here, up here. So therefore it is quite important. So I'm going to pass in the day, the month, the year. Once I'm done with that, what I can do is I can just printf %s because it's a string, and date. Now, we need to also compile it, so compile.bat. So don't echo it, just compile main.c and student.c, give an output like main, and that should be it. So let's call compile and then main. Now, probably our function did crash because we have a pointer here. I am not quite sure if printf checks if the pointer that is given is null or not. So I'm not quite sure about that. But yeah, we can compile it and run it for the moment being. Now, let's transition into our code. So how can we do this? Well, the problem here is the following. We don't have any string function available to us. We are going to implement it ourselves. And other than that, we need to convert the whole thing into a string. Well, in the previous lessons, we've talked about this, so you should maybe be familiar with it. So we need the digits, actually. We know that there are the day is going to be a 2-digit number, the month is going to be a 2-digit number, and the year is going to be a 4-digit number. So therefore, what I'm going to do is I'm going to define the digits. So I need to extract the day digit 1, digit 2. For example, if it's 31, then the first digit is going to be 3, the next digit is going to be 1. So therefore, I'm going to extract these. And then I'm going to have month digit 1, month digit 2. And we are going to have year digit 1, year digit 2, year digit 3, and year digit 4, basically. Now, since we know that we have 2 digits, and since I've defined it as integers, the first digit of the day, or D1 here in this case, can be calculated by an integer division. Now, if you remember, if we divide day into 10, the integer division is going to give us this portion here, so x here. And if we're interested in the remainder y, we can use basically the mod operator 10 here. So we're extracting basically d1 and d2 like this, because they is going to be equal to 10 times d1 plus d2. So if we divide into 10, if that's an integer division, we'll get d1 here, and if we look for the remainder, we will get d2. So basically, we've extracted d1 and d2 as digits. They will be between 0 and 9. We can repeat this process for the month, because that's going to be a 2-digit number again. There we go. Now, for the year, it's going to be a bit more complicated than that. And I'm going to show you why. Now, we will take the year, divide it into 1,000, I guess. Yeah. Now, for the next part, for y2, we have the year, and if we divide it into 100, we will not get what we actually want. Now, just for debugging purposes, I'm going to include stdio, which is not allowed actually, but I just want to debug it. I'm going to erase it. I'm going to use printf in order to show you what the result is going to be. So %d, and then comma, comma, y1, and then y2. Let's see what the contents are. So let's compile and run. And you can see for 2022, we get actually 2 here. But if we divide it directly into 100, we get this number here, which is not going to be what we want. So what I'm going to do is, I know how many 1,000 years in that year are. So if I subtract that from this data, so what I mean by that is the following. Instead of using the year value here, if I subtract the 1,000th digit here, so y1 times 1,000, and then divide it by 100. Let me actually don't divide it by 100 and show you what I mean by that. You can see that we have 2 and 22. Now, if I divide it by 100, we get basically 0. Now, the reason for that is because we have 2022, and I'm basically subtracting 2,000 out of it. So we end up in 0.22, but since that's 0, if we divide it by 100, we get the quotient here, and the quotient becomes being 0 here. There's 0 times 100 in 22. So therefore, this digit should be 0, and we get the 0 down here. So I'm going to repeat this process. I'm going to subtract the previous value from the next one. So for y3, for example, I'm going to also subtract y2 times 100 and divide it by 10. The last digit is the simplest one because, yeah, it's the last digit. We will get year, take the mod operation here, and we should be good to go. 3 and 4, 40 years. Let's see what the digits are. 2022. So it's working now. So this is the first step. The next step is going to be the following. Now we have the integer data here, and we need to convert it into a string, a char pointer. Therefore, the next step is going to be allocate some memory using malloc, and from the date format we can count how many characters we need. So 31.12.2022, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we actually have 10. So we can put in size of char. We also can skip that because the size of char is actually a defined statement that is equal to 1. So it depends upon you, but let's do it basically. By the way, I didn't define the char pointer date, so let me do that. And there we go. Now we have allocated some memory. What I want to do now is I want to convert the digits into characters. Now, do you remember the ASCII table? I'm quite using it often. So let me just show you the ASCII table here, because it can help me out in converting numerical data into string data. Now here, if we look at the digits of the numbers here, we can again see that it starts from 48 and it goes up to 57. Now, if I have the number itself, if I want to get the char representation, I'm going to add 48 to it. So this time around, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 9. But if I add 48, I get the ASCII code, and I can convert it into a char in order to get the corresponding character. So what I mean by that is the following. If I want to fill out, for example, the first digit here, I'm going to take digits and add 48 to it. And this is going to be a char value here. So let me just printf one character here and use date 0 here. Now you can see, since I've entered in 12 here, the first digit appears. So I'm going to repeat this process. So this is going to be D2 here. I'm going to do this for the month 2. Month. Actually, we forgot to put in the dot here. So I'm going to place in a dot. So 12 dot, and then the month, and then again dot, and then the years, seven, 8, and 9. Now, let's see what happens if we printf date. So let's run it. Now we can see we have 12.11.2022. But sometimes, if we do it like this, sometimes it is possible to end up in issues here. And the reason behind that is because we need to null terminate our string data here. I believe I have put it in the PDF here. Yeah, there we go, null terminated. Sometimes, depending on the RAM, it doesn't appear to be for now, but it depends upon the execution. If we want to be really safe, what we can do is just put in a null termination, and the null termination is basically this null character here, which is a special character. If we add it, we will be more safe. Because the way that the char pointers, or if we use this as a string works is that it has actually a hidden null terminator there. You can see it is a char vector here. We have 9 characters, but there is a hidden null termination behind that. And the reason for that is the following. Since we have a pointer, and since we are defining basically an array, we actually need the size of this array, but you can see that nowhere in C code, when you use char pointer or const char pointer, you can see that there's no length data associated with it. So we can just pass strings like we want, and this is going to be the case for ours too. And the reason is that we always assume that there's a hidden null termination, so the string ends with this special character. And if we need the length, we just cycle through each element until we stumble upon this null termination character here. Yeah. Now, we have basically added this. Now let me just, again, delete it. If I would have implemented this on my own, I wouldn't even add printf here. It's just for debug purposes because it is illegal. It's not permitted here to use any other thing. The only function that we can call is malloc and nothing else. So we have actually converted it into that, but there's another topic going on here, and that's going to be the invalid attempt here. So for the year, we have actually no restriction here. We don't care about the year, but we care about the month and the day, actually. So we know that the day that we've put in here should be greater than or equal to 1, and the day should be less than or equal to 31. Of course, there will be the case where, for example, for February, 31 is not available, but we are not going to look for that now. So month should be greater than or equal to 1, and month should be less than or equal to 12. So I'm going to check this. I'm not going to check for the year. So let's take this whole thing here. There we go. Now we have even ensured that the day data here is going to be between a certain interval. Therefore, if we convert the day and month into the date string here, we are not going to be facing any problem. But here the problem might be because of year. If we have a bug, it is about the year because we didn't check anything about the year. But it's not important, this is a quiz, so yeah, let's move on. What happens if we basically have, if we don't satisfy the if condition here? So, what we should do, and it is given in the PDF, I believe, is to, where is it now? Here, is to write down invalid here. So, yeah, I'm going to repeat this part here, where we allocate date, and then I'm going to spell invalid here, and then date 0 equals, I'm just going to do that the old-fashioned way. There we go. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, to be safe, I'm going to basically null terminate this with 7. So when I use printf on it, it's not going to be an issue. I can reduce the allocation here to 8, but it's not really that important. Now, since I know that the the allocation is a dynamic allocation, I'm going to use free here in order to get rid of the malloc when I'm done. I'm going to release the memory here. So, yeah, actually we are ready, I guess. Now if we compile it, we'll see if we have an issue here. Oh, I didn't include stdlib in my main function here. Let's do that. Now, let's see. Doesn't it run? It runs, but it doesn't work for some reason. Maybe let's get rid of the free here. And it still doesn't work. Interesting. Did we mess up something here? Let's see. If it's between 1 and 31, if it's between 1 and 12, yeah. And then that's basically it. Oh, we didn't return. Yeah, of course. If you don't return anything in C, it is just becoming, or it is going to be treated like a void pointer that does nothing. So we need to return the date, of course. So now we get the date that we are interested in. Let me open this up. And it would be even better to check if there's any data here. I'm not quite sure if it is safe to not check it. So yeah, let's do it like this. Now, let's provide a different day here to see if it's really working. 3, 6, the 9th, and then maybe 1, 2, 3. Somewhere in the future. There's no day 36, so 15, 15th, 9, 2153. Yeah, that is it basically. The function that you should have submitted should look like this whole thing here, with only stdlib and with only malloc, nothing else. We have just integers, characters, an if statement here, malloc and return, and that's basically it. See you in the next videos.